What if I told you a secret about artificial intelligence? The absolute smartest AI in the world currently has the memory of a goldfish.
Yeah, it really does. You spend hours teaching Claude exactly how you think. You explain your coding style, your business logic.
You detail your exact formatting preferences,
Mhm.
and it just nods along. It gives you these brilliant outputs. But
You close your laptop and it forgets you ever existed. The illusion of intelligence just shatters immediately.
it really does. Welcome to the Deep Dive. We are exploring Claude's underlying memory architecture today. If you are listening to this, you probably know the pain.
Oh, absolutely. It is the single biggest frustration for daily users everywhere. Having to re-explain yourself every morning is mentally exhausting.
It is literally like training a brand new intern every single day.
Right, and if you use it hourly, the friction just becomes unbearable. You simply cannot do deep, meaningful work efficiently like that.
So our mission today is quite simple but highly technical. We want to stop the AI from forgetting everything overnight. We want to build a truly consistent, long-term digital teammate.
And we are breaking down 3 distinct layers of memory today to do that. Layer 1 focuses on the built-in settings and bypass techniques.
Layer 2 introduces a highly robust Markdown file system.
Exactly. And Layer 3 handles advanced cross-project architecture and system automations. It completely changes how you interact with the machine.
Before we start building this complex system, let's just pause. We have to understand the philosophy of how it processes information. Why does Claude seem to forget things so quickly?
Well, this brings us to the context versus memory divide. Misunderstanding this divide is a massive roadblock for people.
They treat context and memory like the exact same thing.
Yeah, they do. But they are fundamentally different computational mechanisms under the hood. Context is everything Claude sees inside your current conversation. Every single message and uploaded file sits inside the context window.
We should define that term clearly for the listener. A context window is the active memory limit for your current chat session.
Exactly right. I mean, I like to use a specific analogy here. Think of context like a large whiteboard in a meeting room.
Okay, I can picture that.
While the meeting happens, everything on that board matters intensely. The AI uses that board to solve your immediate problems. But once the meeting ends, the board gets wiped clean.
Right. Memory, however, is the information that stays between those conversations. Built-in memory has been active since March 2026. Claude automatically scans chats to save important user facts.
It does, yeah. But honestly, it feels incredibly shallow in practice.
It remembers my name, but completely forgets my workflow. Why is the default memory so limited?
That happens because of the 24-hour scan cycle. The default memory only pulls high-level, static facts periodically. It is not designed to track your intricate reasoning processes.
That makes sense. That is why you have to take control of layer 1. You can actually bypass that slow scan cycle entirely.
Yes, you can.
How do we bypass that cycle practically?
Through direct prompting in your very first chat session. You explicitly tell Claude what to remember right away.
By giving it immediate ground rules.
Right. You say, I run a small online business. I prefer short sentences with no filler and no hedging. The AI locks that into its persistent memory banks immediately.
It is like setting the mirrors in a new car. You adjust everything perfectly before you start the engine. But what about the default profile preferences? Does that accomplish the same thing?
Profile preferences are the foundation of your entire workflow. This is where you define your strict global rules. You set your writing style, your role, and preferred formats.
But the most crucial part is the things to avoid list. This is where I struggle the most, honestly. How do we prevent the AI from adopting its default cheerleader persona? That overly enthusiastic tone drives me absolutely crazy.
Oh, I know. You use that things to avoid list very aggressively. You explicitly say, do not start with compliments or filler.
You just forbid words like amazing or great question.
Exactly. The AI weighs negative constraints very heavily in its generation. When you forbid specific tokens, it physically cannot generate them.
So tell it exactly what not to do.
Got it. That covers the profile, but what about recurring daily work? Layer 1 also includes Claude projects, right?
Yes. Projects are essential for your repeated daily tasks. Each project works like an isolated workspace for the AI.
It has its own separate memory, instructions, and context base.
Right. If you run a weekly newsletter, you build a specific project. You store the audience, the format rules, and publishing schedule. The next time you open it, the previous context remains perfectly intact.
And projects now support scheduled automatic tasks, too.
They do, and this is a massive leap forward for productivity. You can ask the AI to automatically draft content daily, Just remember, these scheduled tasks still run locally right now.
So your computer and Claude Desktop must remain open to execute.
Exactly.
Okay, so layer 1 fixes my default voice. But last week, I hit a massive roadblock with this. I was working on two completely different things. I had a casual newsletter and a highly technical client report.
Oh, I see where this is going. Yeah. Layer 1's profile settings applied to absolutely everything. It completely ruined the tone of my technical report. How do we build a memory system that knows the difference?
Well, that is exactly where layer 1 falls completely short. Global settings are too blunt for serious, multifaceted work. You need a structured external brain that adapts to specific context.
Which brings us naturally to layer 2, the Markdown file system. Let's talk about the specific file format for a moment. Why do we strictly use .md or Markdown files? Why not just upload a massive PDF document instead?
That is a brilliant question about how language models parse data. PDFs contain massive amounts of hidden formatting code and layout metadata.
Which the AI has to process, right?
Yeah. When the AI reads a PDF, it wastes compute parsing layout. Plain text Markdown files strip all that noise away completely.
It provides pure, unadulterated signal to the neural network.
Exactly. Markdown gives Claude rigid, long-term structure without the bloat. It allows you to compartmentalize your AI's brain very cleanly. It starts with creating what we call a master context file.
This single file outlines your overarching role and communication style.
Right. It also lists the software tools you use, like Notion or Obsidian.
Wait, hold on a second. Setting up a master context file, individual project files, and references. That sounds like a massive headache. Am I just replacing the work of prompting with endless file management?
I mean, it sounds incredibly heavy up front, I will grant you that, but it actually removes all the friction from your daily workflow. You build the master file once, and it grounds the AI forever.
You attach it directly inside your specific Claude project settings.
Yes. Even if the built-in memory fails completely, this file keeps it grounded.
Okay, so the upfront cost pays off in daily efficiency. But the master file only handles the high-level, big-picture overview. You also need project context files for the granular, task-specific details.
Right, because global settings are simply too blunt for serious work. Claude knowing you write a newsletter is just one broad thing.
Claude understanding the exact beginner to intermediate audience is completely different.
Exactly. Your newsletter file defines the use of clear H2 headers. Your client report file strictly forbids jargon and requires citations.
You just drop the relevant file into the chat when starting. The AI reads it instantly and adopts that specific persona. That makes sense. Let's talk about the decisions log next. Why is a decisions log.md file so crucial to this system?
It is the most ignored but arguably most valuable step. It is a plain text file, tracking your choices over time. Imagine you are wrestling with a complex Python script for days.
Okay, I'm with you.
You try a specific database structure on Monday, but it fails. You try a different API on Tuesday, but it runs slowly.
If you do not log those failures, Claude will suggest them again tomorrow.
Right. You write down exactly what you chose and why. You also document exactly what got rejected and the underlying reason. Computationally, this drastically changes how the LLM processes its future suggestions.
It reads that historical file and updates its internal probability map.
Exactly. It physically lowers the likelihood of generating those previously rejected ideas. It stops behaving like a blank slate, starting from absolute zero.
I see. It creates a historical record of your specific reasoning process. The AI internalizes your past rejections and adjusts its future output. How does the decisions log change the AI's behavior over time?
It shifts the AI from a generic assistant to a personalized partner. It maps your human logic directly into its token generation weights.
It learns how I actually think, not just facts. That is brilliant. I had to make a vulnerable admission here, though. I still wrestle with prompt drift myself quite frequently.
Oh, we all do. It happens to everyone.
Even with instructions, the AI slowly sounds less like me.
Yeah.
How do we fix the drifting voice issue?
Well, that is what the style reference file is designed to solve. You have to stop using vague adjectives in your daily prompts. Words like professional or friendly mean absolutely nothing to an LLM.
Instead, you pick 3 to 5 of your absolute best pieces. You copy 2 or 3 paragraphs into style reference.mdt.
And you add notes explaining why those specific sections work. When Claude has real samples, it analyzes the token patterns. It picks up your natural sentence rhythm and argument structure.
The outputs stop sounding like an AI imitating a human. They finally start sounding genuinely like you.
Exactly.
Markdown files are a brilliant solution for managing isolated context. But eventually you scale up to running massive, complex workflows. Dragging and dropping individual files starts getting incredibly messy.
Yeah, you lose track of which file goes to which specific project.
This introduces layer 3, system-wide architecture and advanced automation.
This layer is for people managing serious, overlapping daily workflows. The goal is no longer just maintaining a simple text memory. The goal is building an AI system with consistent context everywhere.
It starts with a feature called Claude Code.
Right. Claude Code operates directly inside your local terminal environment. You create a permanent memory file named CLAUDE.md. You drop this file right into the root project folder.
When Claude Code opens that folder, it automatically reads it. It instantly understands the current sprint tasks and coding preferences.
You never have to paste those instructions into the chat manually. It operates like an autonomous agent following your local rules.
I imagine you store strict workflow rules in that specific file. Things like write everything in Markdown or never edit templates. But I see a potential trap here with the file size.
You are right to spot that.
If I put all my workflow rules in there, it gets huge. What happens if that main Claude.md file gets too long?
That is a critical failure point for many advanced users. It breaks down because of the model's finite attention mechanism.
Let's define that quickly. The attention mechanism is how the AI decides which text is most important.
Yes, an LLM only has a finite amount of processing focus available. If you feed it a massive 3-page rulebook, it gets overwhelmed. It spends 80% of its attention analyzing your strict instructions.
It only has 20% left to actually write your Python code.
Right. It misses the nuances of the prompt you just typed out.
I see. The context window isn't just about storage. It is actually about computational focus. Keep the rulebook short, or it forgets to do the work.
That is exactly it.
That makes perfect sense. Now, once you juggle multiple projects, things get even more complex. Each folder develops its own highly isolated context bubble. You need a shared memory layer for your entire daily workflow.
This is where cross-project shared folders become incredibly useful. You combine your master context file with specific project files. You place your decisions log alongside your specific newsletter files.
At the start of a session, Claude reads the master context. It combines that with the related project files completely seamlessly.
It acts like stacking Lego blocks of data perfectly together. You click them into place to build the exact context needed. This is where your isolated projects finally start feeling fully connected.
Even with perfect files, long sessions eventually break down entirely. The context window limit is a hard mathematical wall. Eventually, the early parts of the conversation start disappearing completely.
Yeah, the AI forgets what we decided 3 hours ago.
This brings us to a fascinating solution: session handoff files.
This is my absolute favorite technique in the entire memory architecture. At the end of a long, productive session, you simply pause. You prompt the AI with a very specific set of instructions. You ask Claude to write a comprehensive handoff summary document.
What exactly goes into that specific handoff prompt?
You ask it to summarize the ultimate goal of the session. You ask for a list of the key decisions finalized today. You ask for the specific code snippets or paragraphs currently completed.
And finally, you demand a bulleted list of immediate next steps. You ask for it as a clean, standardized Markdown file.
Yes, you save that file to your local machine immediately. Tomorrow morning, you paste it into a brand new, fresh chat window.
Claude reads it and continues almost exactly where you stopped yesterday.
It does not have to rebuild the entire context from scratch.
Whoa. Imagine passing a digital baton to yourself perfectly every single morning. That is just incredible to think about. You bypass the hard context limit by compressing the history manually.
It takes less than 30 seconds, but saves hours of frustration. It truly feels like magic when you first start doing it.
We have this beautiful, complex memory architecture built and running. But how do we keep the house from falling apart over time? Systems degrade rapidly if you do not actively maintain them.
They really do.
Let's look at the best practices for keeping this system functional.
Maintaining the system requires about 10 minutes of review weekly. You must actively manage your files to keep them sharply effective. The worst thing you can do is create a messy dumping ground.
Do not throw everything into one massive, disorganized document. Claude works much better with smaller, clearly separated text files.
Definitely.
The biggest danger here seems to be memory contamination. What happens if we save bad context into this fragile system?
It creates a negative feedback loop that destroys output quality entirely. If you save weak, generic outputs, the AI anchors to them. It assumes those generic outputs are the gold standard going forward.
It will repeat those exact mistakes in every future conversation. You must only save content that truly matches your high standards.
Yes, if an output is not good enough, you must fix it. You either rewrite it manually or remove it from the system entirely.
What is the danger of mixing different project context into one file? Let's say I put my casual newsletter and my legal client work together.
The AI struggles to isolate the rules for the current task. If it sees casual formatting next to legal jargon, it gets confused. It might accidentally apply a casual tone to a serious legal document.
We call that a hallucination. Let's define hallucination quickly. Confidently generating completely false or inappropriate information as fact.
Exactly. Mixing projects dilutes the AI's focus. Keep them separated. Your newsletter, your course, and your client work need distinct boundaries.
Mixing projects dilutes the AI's focus. Keep them separated. That makes perfect sense. A cleaner memory system leads to more stable AI outputs. The beautiful part is how robust this entire system is.
Oh, completely. Because it relies entirely on simple Markdown files, backups are trivial. You can use standard tools like GitHub, Google Drive, or Dropbox.
It makes your AI workflow entirely portable. If you switch laptops, you restore your entire system instantly. You just copy your memory folder back onto the new drive.
Let's look at how this applies to real daily workflows. Imagine opening your newsletter project inside Claude on a Monday morning. The AI already reads your project context and your style reference.
It reviews your decisions log from all your previous weeks. You simply ask for 5 topic ideas based on recent trends.
Claude already understands your exact audience and your preferred format. It knows exactly what type of content performed well last month. The very first draft is highly accurate and incredibly useful.
Research workflows operate on the exact same structural principles. You upload a massive PDF report into the system. You ask Claude to summarize findings against last week's decisions.
It does not just blindly read the document and spit out facts. It understands how you prefer to analyze that specific information. It cross-references the new data against your established human logic.
Team workflows benefit immensely from this shared memory approach, too. You create shared memory files for brand voice and client support.
When a team member opens it, Claude already understands the business. You ask it to check emails from priority clients and draft replies. It uses your normal client tone perfectly without any extra prompting.
It starts acting like a customized operating system for the whole business. It is time to step back and recap the big ideas. We set out to stop Claude from forgetting everything overnight.
Layer 1 is using built-in settings and projects for the baseline. You use aggressive profile rules to kill the default cheerleader persona.
Layer 2 is creating an external brain with targeted Markdown files. You use style references and decision logs to map your reasoning. This stops the AI from suggesting ideas you have already rejected.
Layer 3 automates this context across massive, complex workflows. You use CLAUDE.md files and daily session handoffs to maintain momentum.
The full setup takes 30 minutes, but pays massive dividends daily. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive today. We want to leave you with one final provocative thought.
Yeah, think about this.
We are building a system that maps out our exact reasoning. If we spend 10 minutes a week carefully curating these files that perfectly map out our decisions, our style, and our logic, at what point does the AI stop being just a software tool? At what point does it start becoming a literal digital clone of our own mind?